One of the most important parts of your zombie apocalypse strategy is coming up with the perfect place to hide. There are quite a few places out there where zombies will be roaming around relentlessly, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your goal here is to stay as far away as possible from the outbreak, or at least be prepared if they come knocking at your door. Here are brilliant places to hide during the zombie apocalypse.
Hey guys, this is American Eye, bringing you another great video.
Number 12. Missile Silo. Missile silos are typically constructed in remote areas across Eastern Europe and the Western United States. What makes them great places to survive the zombie apocalypse is that they're underground and are already made to house people in many cases. In 2014, condos were built within a decommissioned missile base located in Kansas. If the missile bases can withstand a nuclear war, then it should be safe against zombies. Should. The condos are housed between 9-foot concrete walls, and people here have access to their own food supply and water. Built in rural Kansas, it's most likely going to be one of the last places affected by the zombie virus. The rooms feature artificial windows, large TVs, and some even have swimming pools. If you don't find this one in Kansas, don't worry. There are at least 10 states with active nuclear missile silos and countless abandoned silos. Just keep in mind, missile silos might only have one way in and one way out. Number 11. A lighthouse. Also a good choice to hide out at, the lighthouse provides you with the unique combination of isolation and fortification. Being high up is certainly an advantage during the zombie apocalypse because you need a good place to scope out where they're coming from. You'll also have more time to prepare for their arrival if you start to see them stumbling your way. You'll have some time to possibly head to the beach and gather resources to keep you from starving. Towers have been used throughout the centuries as defensive structures. Since they offer you a 365-degree view of the land below, you could potentially spot zombies as far as the horizon. You'll certainly have a tactical vantage point to snipe zombies with your high-powered crossbow or silent sniper rifle. The possibilities are simply endless here. Number 10. Prisons. Let's face it, you'd probably never consider making a prison your new home, but you need to reconsider this if it was a zombie apocalypse. Here you basically already have everything you need to keep zombies out, and they're certainly designed to make it difficult to get into. Alcatraz is definitely a famous place in America, but it would be one of the best places in America to begin a settlement and call home. Located right near San Francisco, it makes a great base for looting the mainland for resources. If you and your zombie hunting squad manage to capture this area before other survivors do, you can definitely defend it pretty well. The strong current has made it nearly impossible to swim to. The elevated lighthouse would act as a perfect place to set up your stronghold, considering its vantage point that allow you to spot other scavenging zombies or surviving looters trying to make it to your island. The land is suitable for growing crops, the water tower has fresh water in it, and it could certainly support a small population. If you got yourself a boat, go ahead and tie it up at the mini boat docks, but watch over it carefully. Number 9. Caves. Caves are often full of living creatures, and hopefully, it'll be useful for hiding at during the zombie apocalypse. Some of the first humans often dwelled in caves until we were safe enough to build fortifications in cities. The world's largest and most mysterious cave is the Han Sang Dune cave system in Vietnam. It's over 150 meters high in some points and stretches at least 5 kilometers. It's so massive that it actually has its own jungles, an underground river, and climate. You could potentially build your own city somewhere inside this cave system and come out for light occasionally. But the zombies might not even know you're here. There could be some creatures lurking in caves that aren't zombies that you do have to worry about, however. Bears, various insects, spiders, all kinds of creepy crawlers, and rats may be certainly down here, but reimagine you should be safe from the zombies. Number 8. Your own home. Don't completely rule out the possibility of just staying in your own home during the zombie apocalypse. We've made different videos about zombie-proofing your own house, and you could essentially turn your living quarters into a full-blown zombie apocalypse bunker. Ask yourself a few questions first, though. Is my home in a rural area? Do I have the ability to grow some of my own food? And am I willing to create some zombie traps in order to keep them out? If you said yes to most of these questions, you should definitely consider it. It will certainly take some work and preparation, but you could make yourself a pretty crazy hideout here. Number 7. Mountaintops. When trying to make an escape from the hordes of the undead, we made it clear to get out of the town and search for a remote uninhabited area. If you're able to make it to the top of a mountain during the zombie apocalypse, go ahead and pat yourself on the back, because it's possible you should be safe here. Although it's possible zombies could still be here, it's highly unlikely that any of them will be able to climb to the top of a mountain. Not only that, but searching for higher ground will give you the proper vantage point to see what's going on down below. These can be some of the best places to survive. Knowing how to climb a mountain can certainly be a key for survival, and many of the items used to climb mountains can actually double as zombie apocalypse weapons. Consider searching for cabins to loot or caves to take shelter in. Number 6. Castles. When there are zombies on the loose, there's no problems with getting a little bit medieval. Castles are defensive structures and are specifically designed in order to keep people out and to defend against invaders. It should work rather well against zombies as well. It may already have a running water source, have plate armor on display, and the only way in might be a drawbridge. This would be more reasonable for survivors in Europe, where there are a fairly large concentration of defensive structures. Since the preferred range weapon at this time was the bow and arrow, or crossbow, many of the towers are built with holes for you to fire from without exposing yourself too much. As long as you keep an eye out on your weak points and fortify your entrance, the castle is a quality option. And if you get yourself a castle at the top of a mountain on an island, you could get some bonus points. Number 5. An island. Islands are one of the best top geological formations where you should consider building an outpost. Many islands are large enough to support hundreds of people, have plenty of trees to construct things with, and you're completely surrounded by water. It's much more likely that the zombie apocalypse will be spreading around in the mainland and populated areas. You don't want to choose an island that's too small because you don't want to come up empty-handed if you have to go hunting. You also don't want it to be too big because then you don't always know what's washing up on the shores. Pick an island that's at least a mile or two away from a big city in case you feel the need to rummage through the ruins of the apocalypse for supplies. The more remote you go, the better supplies you need to bring with you. Having a boat will be crucial for island survival, especially since fish may be your best source of protein. Hopefully, you won't have any bad encounters with zombie sharks. Number 4. Aircraft carriers. Assuming that the Navy and the military weren't the ones who let go of the zombie apocalypse virus in the first place, an aircraft carrier would be like a floating island fortress where zombies can't attack. Keep in mind though, the availability might be kind of tough for those not from the US. In events such as the apocalypse, we imagine these craft will be close to the shore in order to conduct some bombing missions. There is quite the advantage of being out at sea on a trusted vehicle such as this, and with plenty of munitions on board, there should be no huge problem with supplies. Many aircraft carriers have nuclear reactors on board, which would allow them to operate for decades in the right conditions. Some of them also carry helicopters to help you scope out various places where zombies could be hiding. It's possible, though, that the best way to deploy an aircraft carrier would be to anchor it out at sea about several miles from the shore and stay there until things get better. Number 3. Alaska. Go ahead and kiss your electronics goodbye. It's time to go to Alaska. The largest state in the US only has about 740,000 people or so, and surviving in Alaska isn't for your average survivor. You certainly won't have to worry about coming across any zombies here, but you might want to be ready to fight off Alaskan wilderness, which might be just as difficult. Only the strong will survive way up here, and the preferred mode of transportation is dog sled due to the large amounts of snow. Up in Alaska, you should have plenty of fresh glacial water and fish to feast on. One of the bigger challenges will be to keep warm. Build an igloo and make sure to have plenty of fire starters handy. Many places in Alaska have been completely untouched by man, and we imagine it would take some serious time for the zombie apocalypse virus to make it all the way up here. Number 2. Offshore oil rigs. If you're able to reach and locate an offshore oil rig, this could be one of the best places to survive during the end of days. You'll have plenty of fuel to provide electricity to the rig, and they're designed to hold large amounts of supplies and plenty of food. Rigs are complete with desalinators in order to purify salt water into fresh water. Being surrounded by water, you should also have no problems with zombies coming after you, and your main concern would be hurricanes or pirates. And number 1. Outer space. It might be time for humans to give up on the fight against zombies if they appear to be on the path of global destruction. It's probably best to watch the world end from outer space, and this will give you a front row seat. In a worst possible case scenario, humans are going to have to look into space for a place to settle. Mars appears to be a good option, and we're sure some crazy billionaires have invested in some type of secret trip to Mars in case of the zombie apocalypse. A space station might have a few disadvantages, but you know for sure there won't be any zombies floating around in space. These stations are typically impossible to raid, have their own life support systems, power sources, and water purification equipment. Living in outer space might not be the ideal place to live the rest of your life, but there's no possible way zombies could make it here. Or is there?